Rather wet Allianz this evening. Not great for fans, but perfect for football. Sydney FC beginning a run of 4 games in 10 days as they bid to climb the table. A win tonight won't put them in the top 6, but it would take them above Western Sydney Wanderers into 7th. And you'd think they must start favourites tonight against Perth Glory, who've won just the once all season, albeit in their last road trip away to Brisbane. This is the first of 3 games in 7 days for the Glory. The Sky Blues have a perfect record against Glory in the 3 meetings here at the newly revamped Allianz, including that 7-1 mauling at the back end of last season, which confirmed the wooden spoon for Perth and was Alan Stadgic's last match in charge. Sydney had 22 shots on target in that match, which remains an A-League record. Tonight, though, it's David Strilic who returns to his home city, having improved the club's position by 1 spot. But can they rebound from their late heartbreak at the hands of Western United at the weekend when they lost to 2 goals in stoppage time? Now, before we start today, the players, as you can see, wearing black armbands, and we are going to have a moment's silence for former Sydney FC CEO Stefan Kamaz, who also served on the board of the Old Soccer Australia, who tragically passed away yesterday. Our thoughts with his family and friends.
A-League fans, on behalf of the Australian Professional Leagues and Sydney FC, we now ask if you are able to please rise as we pay tribute to the life of Stefan Kamaz, who passed away yesterday. For more than 50 years, Stefan worked tirelessly to grow the world game in Australia as both a player and administrator, which saw him work in a number of roles across the former National Soccer League, Football New South Wales, Sydney FC and Football Australia. During his 5 years with Sydney FC, Stefan contributed in various areas, including Chief Executive Officer, and in 2014 was inducted in the Football Australia Hall of Fame. Please pause for a moment's silence to honour his immense contribution to Australian football. May he rest in peace. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So let's take a check on the team news for tonight's game, starting with the home side. 3 changes for Sydney FC. A couple in defence as they seek to shore up that leaky back line. Zach de Jesus coming in for his first start of the season at right back, with Ryan Grant moving centrally to partner Hayden Matthews, and Joel King replacing Jordan Courtney Perkins at left back for just his 2nd start of the campaign. Further forwards, Leo Senna returns as part of a double pivot along with Corey Holman, with Adrian Segacic benched, Alexander Popovic still out with injury, along with Douglas Costa. As Joe Lolly, who's scored 6 goals in 5 matches against Perth, including a double in that 7-1 win against the Glory here last May. Now, just the one change for Glory. Quiet and Go drops down to the bench to accommodate the inclusion of Jared Carluccio, scored against Western United last time out. Josh Risdon makes his 150th appearance for the club, spread across 2 different spells. Jalen Pearman makes consecutive starts for the first time, partnering Adam Taggart in attack, who scored in both games against Sydney at this venue last season. Nikola Miljuznic is back on the bench, his first involvement since November. David Williams, of course, is out for the season. 150 glory games up then for Josh Risdon. Only Andy Keogh and Liam Reddy have reached that mark for the club in the A-League era. He is still, though, some way off Jamie Harwell's all-time record of 256. Ufuk Talay has stressed the importance of this batch of games for his team. He says it's a great chance for them to move up the table. He has also hinted at some new faces arriving in the January window, which opens next week. David Strilic has already started the glory rebuild with 5 players having departed the club since the end of November. And tonight, as mentioned, he returns to Sydney, where he spent 3 years as a player and 8 as part of the coaching staff. Referee tonight is Sam Kelly, taking charge of just his second A-League match. Owen Goldrick and Andre Giev on the lines. Tyndon Ascos, the 4th official, and Kate Jacobitz is in VAR.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So off we go in a venue where Perth Glory haven't won since February 2016, when it was still the old Allianz. Do you give them any chance tonight, Grace Gill?
Well, thanks, Simon. Look, I do. I think we know what's at stake for this game. We know what's presented before us. It's a massive game for Sydney, a really big one. It feels as though anything less than a win is going to come with a lot of criticism, and Perth in a difficult position, but it's a different kind of weight of expectation that they carry.
Well, Perth, in that regard, I guess, have got nothing to lose. Nobody expects them to win here this evening. Sydney's home form hasn't been the best. 2 wins and 2 losses so far this season. The last couple of away games, of course, they've had to play the get out of jail card late on with a couple of late goals, both away to Adelaide and then latterly against Newcastle. Maybe that's why Talay's gone for the defensive rejig tonight. Grace, what do you make of that? Ryan Grant as a centre-back, where he finished against the Jets, of course.
Yeah, it's obviously not the usual position we see Ryan Grant set up in. We know that so much of his game is about getting forward, providing the attacking outlet down the right-hand side for Sydney. But tonight, it's a different prospect. Whether it's just a touch of leadership at the back there, an experienced head just to settle the side, perhaps.
One thing's for sure, 19 goals conceded this season is probably too many in the books of Talay. Try to find the right formula again with a couple of changes tonight. Here's one of them. Joel King in for Jordan Courtney-Perkins and slipping it through nicely for Anas Wahim. And King has continued his run. Sending the cross, chested down here by Patrick Klimala, who got the shot away, and then Wahim, I think it took a deflection which took some of the sting out of it. There was sort of half shouts for a penalty there as well. And referee Sam Kelly is just telling Perth Glory to wait for a moment. Was there use of a hand there by Tommy Birchler? That's what Sydney FC were claiming. And Perth Glory have an injury concern here. I think it might be a lost tooth, or at least a dislodged one.
Yeah, Taras Gomolka is perhaps wondering if he's lost a little bit of that front tooth there. I don't think there was enough in that to warrant a handball for me, Simon, but those kind of areas of the pitch under these conditions, super slippery out there, that any shot can skip off the surface, can splay around in heavy traffic.
Well, Taras Gomolka was just having a look on the pitch there, I think, to see if he could see a part of his tooth.
Well, he might have to give Ben Garuccio a call and ask about a dentist. He lost one a little earlier in the season as well.
Yeah, that didn't tickle. Immediately dropped down to the turf and that's for assistance. Never rains, but it pours for David Strilic. It's certainly pouring with rain here this evening at Allianz Stadium. Tash Kamulka is good to go. Ollie Sale sent it long. Sydney FC are unbeaten in their last 3 fixtures. Those have been draws. So it should be a win against Melbourne Victory, their first clean sheet of the campaign. Strangely enough, Perth Glory down there at the bottom along with Brisbane. They've kept 2 clean sheets. And their only win against Brisbane, another in the goalless draw away to the Mariners. Away from home this season, Grace, Glory's form has actually been okay. 1 win, 2 draws, 2 defeats. It's at home that they've had the big problems.
And it's tough for a team like Glory with that travel. We speak about it. It really does take a toll for a side. The fact that they've managed it well on the road is impressive, but their home fans no doubt deserve some of that at the home ground as well, something to cheer about.
At the moment it's Sydney looking to build through Caceres. Straight at Murchula. This ball picked up momentarily by Wahim, who wanted a handball. Moved away by Sam Kelly. Came off the arm, but was tucked in. Sent back to his goalkeeper by Adriano Labib. Starting his 4th consecutive game and getting the ball away there. Which the Glory can ill afford. Now they get it forward towards Taggart. His pass left a little bit short for Trent Osler.
Start of the season saw endless changes to that Perth Glory defensive line. Week in, week out, those players coming and going, shifting around, having departed the club now, and Labib has really settled in back there.
Joel King's determination has won the ball back for Sydney. This is Anas Wahim. Glory have got numbers back. Shifted on quickly by Lolly. Chance for De Jesus to fire it. Lolly on the follow-up. That one's blocked. Away for the time being. Ryan Grant to get things moving again for Sydney. King. Leo Senna. And Joe Lolly. In and firing one across, and it's not really properly dealt with by Risdon. Glory scramble it away for now.
Well, it's a move we see time and time again from Joe Lolly, whether it's to shoot or to distribute, to find a cross. It's that dip of the shoulder, the cut back in on his dangerous left foot.
Yeah, there's no mystery about it, is there? But stopping it is another thing entirely. In great nick at the moment as well, Joe Lolly. 3 goals in his last 2 matches. Opens up here for Corey Holman. Another good release though, straight at Risdon. One in the air by Grant for Sydney. Jesus linking up with Caceres. Back for Grant. Wahib. Nice tidy football by Sydney. There's Joe Lolly popping up on the left-hand side just to keep Glory guessing. Here's Wahib. And it's into the cove. But nicely constructed.
good patient play by the Sky Blues, just picking their point to go forward, and I don't mind that at all from Wahim. Had good space to get up, just didn't get the execution quite right. The dial is not yet in, but again, under these conditions, any shot on target is going to challenge a goalkeeper.
Given the way he plays, you'd fancy Anas Wahim is good for between 5 and 8 goals a season. He's only scored 1 so far. That came in the derby against the Wanderers, contributed 4 assists as well. Scoring goals generally for Sydney as a team has not been a problem. Keeping them out at the other end certainly has been.
Well, they've shared this goal scoring around a little bit this season, Sydney.
Away races Wahim again. Labib trying to match him. The challenge, Sydney corner. Looks as though he felt that a little bit, Anas Wahim.
Well, it was a well-timed challenge. Really good on the outstretched leg, and had to be as well.
Defenders love these conditions, don't they? Sliding in. So the first corner of the game, in front of the Cove. Patrick Klimala, the bunch waiting at the back post. In fact, it went to the near. Hayden Matthews did meet it. No real control over the header.
Definitely presents that aerial target. Hayden Matthews with a nice near post run. Little thumbs up to show his appreciation.
Still awaiting his first goal in the competition. As the rain continues to pelt down on the greasy surface. And this is Adriano Labib. And he's left that one a bit short for Risdon, who's now got to turn and chase. It's a foul by Nick Pennington, and it's going to be the first yellow card of the evening.
It's an early one to pick up as well for Nick Pennington. Just slowing the run of Wahim. A really poor giveaway. But just the clumsy leg is left out.
It's his 4th caution of the season. Nick Pennington puts him on the brink of a ban. The ground where he was sent off last season, playing for Wellington Phoenix against Sydney. And another presentable opportunity for Sydney FC. Ollie Sale, who copped 7 on his last trip to this venue against Sydney FC, that is. Man of the match for Glory that day. Might have been double figures were it not for him. Is it to be Lolly or Wahim to deliver this one? It's going to be Wahim. It's that spin as he cuts across the ball, back in by Senna. Matthews was there, hooked away to safety by Nick Pennington. Hayden Matthews. Wahim with Labib arriving. Caceres. De Jesus in advance of him, but chose to cut back inside. Matthews swings it out towards King. Wahim. That wasn't really there, but a mistake by Josh Risdon could open the door here for Corey Holman. Desperately trying to retain both his footing and the ball. A shin pad, I think, has gone flying from somewhere.
Just a couple of occasions now, Perth have gifted Sydney possession in a pretty dangerous part of the field. They're it's a wayward pass or just not hitting the right side of the body. Sydney haven't yet been able to capitalise, but just small details that for David Drillinger's side they need to tidy up on.
Driving run by Lolly, now Caceres to hang it up. Only Risden at the back post. Recycle through centre. Lolly has to turn back out. Shows us an option on the right. Caceres on the ball. A bit intricate, but again the ball breaks Sydney's way, and Corey Holman with the shot from outside the area. The pressure is building on Glory.
Yeah, well, they're having to absorb a lot at the moment, sitting back deep in their defensive shape, and you see now from the goal kick as well, they don't want to play short, they don't want to play out from the back. Ollie Sale just eager to get bodies away from this dangerous area where they've been spending a lot of time.
Nothing as yet in attack for Glory, maybe that's about to change. Dug out nicely by Osler. Here's Risden. Forced to go centrally. Oh, and it almost sneaked through, and Harrison Devonish-Mears needed 2 bites at it, with Adam Taggart just waiting to pounce.
Well, that very nearly caught the Sky Blues off guard. It was a lovely ball. Found its way, threaded through the Sydney defence. That would have well and truly been against the run of play.
Back with Ryan Grant for Sydney. Matthews. King. Stopped in his tracks by Risden. Gamulka needing an outlet, couldn't find one. Caceres rides the challenge of Labib. Here's Patrick Klimala. Gonna have a go, deflected, and behind for a corner. His first real sight of goal, the Polish striker.
And again, building for Sydney, all the possession. We saw the stats a moment earlier, 80-20. Touches in the opposition box as well, completely dominated by the Sky Blues. The chances are building. It certainly feels like it's building towards something at the moment.
Lolly sends up the signal. It's deep towards the back post. Nobody able to connect with it. Lolly's hair tells you just how wet it is out there. Tele has the benefit of at least some cover under the dugout. Always in conversation with the 4th official, who is Tim Danaskos tonight. Holman, returned with interest by Labib. Grant for Holman, meeting the challenge of Jared Carluccio. Lolly cleverly letting the ball run across his body, try and get away from Vasilevsky. They're not quite on the same page as Anthony Caceres, but it's a Sydney throw. Rainless from Corey Holman. Quickly taken throw. Squared up by Grant for Matthews. Near side is Joel King. Jesus. Got his first action of the season in the league, Zach de Jesus. And the weekend against Newcastle off the bench. Given his first start of the campaign this evening. It's rather careless from centre. Risdon skips clear of one. And a glory throw. Let's go down and say good evening to Tristan McManus. Tris.
What a day for football. This is great. The atmosphere is awesome. Like I said, you're saying fans are staying at home. The ones who are here are in full voice. It's a great day for football. It's great to see Ryan Grant playing at the back there. I know we're a bit surprised he's playing centre half, but I guess when you've got someone as dangerous as Tags up front.
Let's break away and see if Trent Hosler can find a delivery here. Referee Sam Kelly's going to bring them back for a glory free kick. And Tristan, you can continue.
Yeah, you really need that experience at the back. They've been calling out for a bit of experience the last couple of weeks. They were real lethargic against Newcastle. They had a lot of possession, of course, at the start, but it didn't look like they were going to do anything. It's very, very different here. They must have got a rollicking all right through the week. Joe King started well. Jesus over there is great. I love Devonish Mears as well. I think he's very vocal at the back, which is great. But good start to the game. Everyone's in full voice. Long may it continue.
Including you, Tris. Great to hear.
Always. It's roasting hot down here.
There's the signal from Taras Gaborka. The one who responded was Harrison Devonish Mears. Caceres. Wahim. Senna. And Grant. Lolly. Caceres. Stringing the passes together until Taras Gaborka got a foot in and was then held back by Anthony Caceres. He was Sydney's big success story in the weekend against Newcastle, a goal and an assist. His 89th minute strike earning them a point, an all-seam loss.
Well, he's consistently one of their best, Caceres. So busy, so involved in everything going forward for Sydney.
Great use of the body there as well to protect the ball for Wahib. Here's Joe Lolly. Doesn't need a second invitation to shoot. Hooked away rather inelegantly by Zach Lisalewski, but effectively nonetheless.
What I would say, for all the weather, all the rain there has been, and it's been teeming down today in Sydney, the pitch has actually held up really well. It's still coming down now. And if anything, I'd say both Sydney and Perth aren't really utilising the speed of the pitch out there because it's really fast.
Maybe Glory are about to. Needed that last-ditch challenge from Ryan Grant. And he had to time that one to perfection as well. Otherwise, Glory would have been in. Sydney might be in at the other end. I did make sure that they're not. Nick Tennington is still down at the far end of the ground because of contact with Ryan Grant, but it was a very good piece of defending.
And perhaps that's why Ryan Grant is there this evening. You mentioned just that experience. He gets a little high five from his centre-half partner in Hayden Matthews. And at the other end again, it was Adriano Labib, just with a lunging effort to deny a Sydney attack. It's been called into action on a couple of occasions.
Leaden skies above the harbour city. In fairness, 2 or 3 days ago it was about 36 degrees, so maybe a few people rather glad of the wetter weather.
I'm sure. Well, perfect for football. It's about 18 degrees Celsius here this evening.
Nick Pennington is okay and back with us. Glory back up to their full complement. Senna. He worked wide for Joel King. Lead partly away by Labib. Picked up here by Lolly. As De Jesus on the right. Blocked by Lisalewski. Lolly again. Driving forwards. Flicked knocked off the head of Merchula, which kept it away from the Sydney FC attackers. The pattern of the game pretty well established. It's gone really as we thought it might, the opening 24 minutes or so. Mainly Sydney. One half chance for glory at the other end. Ollie trying to disguise the pass. Was then shut down as he tried again. Glory working very hard to keep Sydney FC at bay. Him trying to work it wide. For a moment, as though he's going to get the benefit of the ricochet off Trent Osler. Instead, it's a goal kick for Glory.
Well, for all their possession, Sydney just struggling to find a bit of possession between the lines. Wahim is looking for it. And on the next passage of play, we'll keep an eye out. He's just floating between Perth's defensive and midfield line, occasionally receiving the ball, but then threading it out wide again. I'd love to see him try and face forward, face the frame of goal. Sydney certainly utilising the width of the pitch, but just struggling to break down what has been a pretty well-disciplined defensive block by Perth.
I guess, Grace, not for the first time this season, it's another big test of character for Glory. They were so close to getting 3 points against Western United, and then it all collapsed in the last few minutes for them. They can be real confidence killers.
Yeah, I think the confidence and the positivity that Perth and David Drillage can take from that performance against Western United was that it was an improved performance, a much improved performance by Perth, and you really can't do much about the kind of finish that we saw from Geordie Lawton, and it was spectacular. We'll watch that one over and over again, but all you can really do is applaud in those moments.
There were too many Glory fans applauding.
Fair.
Here's Holman. But you're right, it was a great goal. King. So a foul on the edge of the box there by Pennington. There is. He can't quite believe that. Of course, he's on yellow cards, has to be a little bit careful. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one.
Yeah, Sam Kelly had a bit of a think about it. I didn't think that was a foul in my eyes. But it presents a really dangerous opportunity for Sydney here, just outside the edge of the 18-yard box. And I've said it a couple of times, but any shot on target is going to challenge a goalkeeper under these kind of conditions. Tough to hold on to.
I guess in many ways you'll be looking to go low and hard in this sort of weather. Suit right-footed Anas Wahim. This free kick. Sale has built a wall of 4. He's just checking those angles again. Big chance for Sydney FC. Ollie's there as well. He could float it into that top left corner. It is going to be Joe Lolly, and he forces a good save out of Ollie Sale. It was at a decent height, and a save that had to be made.
Yeah, nice strike. Even better save. Ollie Sale got a good piece of it, both hands across. That's just good preparation by the goalkeeper. Set up his wall well. You can see the exact spot Joe Lolly was aiming for. Beautiful angle there.
Ollie Sale has let in 59 goals in 21 games since he joined Perth Glory. It's been at times a bit of a thankless task being the man between the posts. He's reclaimed the gloves ahead of Cameron Cook. looks determined to keep them. Matthews. Caceres, lovely feet. Getting through that bit of traffic in midfield. Him back for Holman. King. See, getting those little triangles moving. It's a good stretch though by Osler. Here's Merchant. Zalewski under pressure, getting the ball away, but an errant touch off the boot of Zach Bergetis gives Glory a throw. And just eases that little spell of pressure. Perth have conceded 15 first half goals so far this season, but they've managed to get through the first half an hour. The score sheet still blank. Shout for offside there by Glory defence. Now they are more vociferous. They've got a goal kick, but Tommy Merchant is saying to the linesman on the far sides, who is Andre Giev, you should have put your flag up. A lot though these days, Grace. The linesmen, of course, are told to keep their flags down if in any sort of doubt and let VAR sort things out.
Oh, that's exactly right, and you can't really begrudge the assistant referees for doing what they've been told to do. Frustrating one for fans at times and for strikers as well, if they make a 40-yard run and then get called for offside a few moments after the play.
Tommy Merchant is still continuing that conversation. Should be aware of it by now. It's good crisp passing from Sydney FC. Caceres is robbed of the ball. Really strong play. That's well played by Caceres, who bravely threw himself into that challenge to try and angle the ball out towards Joe Lolly. His efforts have earned Sydney a free kick.
He did well, Caceres. First time of asking, lost the ball, worked hard to win it back and then lunge in on that occasion to pick his team up a free kick.
Which Wahim takes short for Lolly. Joe Lolly, and it will take just a touch off Jared Carluccio. It's going to be a corner.
And again, Joe Lolly driving in on that left foot, as he say. Knowing about it is one thing, stopping it is another.
Lolly works shorts. Wahim goes down, and breaks here though for Lolly. Virtually able to see that one behind, and Sydney FC just asking the question as to whether there was a foul inside the box there. Anas Wahim particularly vocal. Not enough in that for me.
Unless you consider a foul standing on the ball, then certainly not a penalty there. And to his credit, referee Sam Kelly coolly waved it away. Positioned well and really confident with that call.
Even if Vitale didn't protest that one. Bib into midfield. It's a really good turn. Jared Carluccio's away and he has options left and right. Here's Adam Taggart. Taggart can have a go. It's deflected, and that could have so easily gone into the back of the net with Harrison Devonish-Mears completely wrong-footed. Glory have themselves a corner.
It was an excellent driving run in the middle of the park from Jared Carluccio. I thought his pass to Adam Taggart was just a bit behind his stride. It needed to be in front. It needed to have a bit more speed about it. Taggart pulls it back onto the right foot, and that could have gone anywhere. Good chance for Perth.
Brings about this corner, which Gamulka delivers. And Kamala heads up, not entirely away. This cue from Lissalewski. Whistler's attempted ball into the box was charged down by Senna. At the end of all that, it's a Sydney FC throw-in. David Strilic will be pleased, I'm sure, to a degree with the organisation that his team has shown. They've offered the occasional threat the other way.
Yeah, I think he really can. I think for Perth, in recent games, they have been picked off a little too easily in the middle of the park, but it's really a part of this evening's game that they're having more joy with. This is Perth, just disciplined shape, defensive block is working.
Jesus away by Pennington. So particularly well by Jalen Pearman. Sydney in behind to Jesus' ball, and it's Mercer at the near post, and he's angry again at the linesman.
Well, furious. He thought the offside was there, and you can see just the timing in which he's questioning. The moment that ball is over the line, though, well, here's his response. Outraged.
Not an easy job, is it? Here's the corner. Lead towards Grant at the back post. Glory deal with the first phase. Here comes the second. Maybe not. Well defended by Riston. Taggart loses out though to King. Senna. Matthews. Ollie. Another corner for the Sky Blues. They want to make some of this pressure pay before half-time. This is their fifth corner. Holman and Trent Osler being spoken to by Sam Kelly. Holman's got his arms behind his back. Gamulka at the near post, safely away. Leo Senna. Angle that ball out towards Joe Lolly. Instead it's Glory coming forward with Taggart. Carluccio. Two with Taggart. They've got themselves into a nice position here, Glory. And Carluccio's got to the byline. And Nick Pennington was waiting at the back post. Possibly Glory's best attacking move. Back in by Riston. Out by Matthews. Pennington trying to recycle things. And eventually Joel King gets it up towards Klimala, and Sydney could be on for the counter here. Caceres, Glory a bit stretched at the back. Just wasn't the right ball for Joe Lolly. The goal kick is the verdict, despite the Sydney FC protests.
Oh, it was a wonderful centering ball out wide from Klimala to find Caceres, and the final pass from Caceres disappointing, just a little too narrow. Otherwise, in what was a really wonderful sweeping play from the Sky Blues, end-to-end stuff there after Jared Carluccio had had another good moment at the opposite end.
Anthony Caceres fully aware that it was his mistake led to that potential opening being snuffed out. Glory, nobody will be more motivated tonight than Jared Carluccio, former Western Sydney Wanderer, of course. Jesus and Joe Lolly tricks his way past Carluccio, fires in the cross, but straight into the midriff of Ollie Sale. I don't know how many times he's done that tonight, but...
Well, not just tonight, Simon, but
yeah,
in his whole tenure in Australia, Joe Lolly. We know exactly what he's going to do, but it's awfully hard to stop. Just that explosive move off the shift of weight. And even when you do show him down the right-hand side...
I was about to say, he's perfectly capable of doing the same on the other side, isn't he? That's the problem. That's why he's been such a good purchase for Sydney FC. To mention his goals, 23, 63 matches. Continuing to pour down. Yeah, would you believe, Grace, that pre-game some of us were held up getting inside the stadium because of a fire drill going off? A fire alarm, I should say.
The rain hasn't really stopped. Just teaming down the pitch, still holding up really nicely.
Comfortably through the Perth Glory press. It's part of the plan, I think, in David Strilic to implement the sort of press that implemented at Sydney FC. It's not quite worked out that way. Joel King swings in the cross, finds Klibala. Caceres, Lolly, and Caceres. And behind it goes off Tommy Murchler for another Sydney FC corner. We just saw those stats there, Grace. 2 shots on target for Sydney. It's scant reward for their domination. 6 corners, though. Next of which has made its way to Anas Wahib. Sarah's trying to stay onside. It's to settle for corner number 7 off Carluccio.
As we know, all the possession, all the opportunities, they don't count for much unless you do find the back of the net. And on that last one, Joe Lolly had made almost an underlapping run that Wahib hadn't spotted. Fine margins.
Change of corner taker. It's going to be Anas Wahib with the outswinger. It's an awkward one, good punch by Ollie Sale. Volleyed over the top by Anthony Caceres. Just leaning back ever so slightly perhaps on this one.
Yeah, a tricky one to get right. That volley on the rise as the ball's just skipping up off the surface. There's been some really good combinations down the right-hand side for Sydney. Caceres and Lolly finding each other regularly. Just the final product lacking.
Supporters in the Cove getting very wet. Like money on a new stadium, and they don't extend the roof out far enough to keep them dry.
I don't think the fans mind too much. They look like they're having a good time.
Good intervention by Pennington. Setting Taggart on his way, has a little look up, cross deflected, awkward. De Jesus wasn't about to take a risk.
He's going to take a risk, but I think he's taking the air out of himself with the chest to concede the corner. This is where Nick Pennington pops up in really important moments for Perth. The intercept just turning the defence into attack.
Both Labib and Murchler made the way forward. It's the Glory's second corner. Again, Tarash Gamulka to take. Swung in towards Labib at the near post. And then it comes to Osler, who caught it cleanly, but there were bodies in the way. Osler did score at this ground, you might remember, in your night round a few weeks ago against Western United. So far, his only goal of the season. Perth in total have only scored 7. Josh Risdon was adamant that the throw-in was his, and when against him, he held Sydney up. Minutes are up, and we're into the first of 3 added minutes. Lolly twisting and turning his way through, almost overrunning it, not just once but twice. It's here for Joel King, should be the goalkeeper's wall. His Sale's made a mess of it and needs Labib to clear the ball off the line. Goodness me, Ollie Sale came to punch the ball and only got a very tiny portion of it. And it was Caceres who very nearly squeezed the ball home.
Well, that delivery from Joel King, that's delightful. A really difficult area for a goalkeeper to manage. Ollie Sale up and under and just pushes the ball back into the air. Again, just in ashes of half-time, Sydney FC fail to capitalise, and for all their dominance, for all their possession, their chances, looks as though they'll be going into the sheds without anything to show for it at half-time.
And if that is the case, then Oliver Sale will be the most relieved man inside Allianz Stadium. Seconds of the first half to run. Brought down here by Lolly. Holman. Jesus back for Grant. Senna. It's defence-splitting pass for Waheem, but Risdon recovered the ground. Hughes missed his header completely. Bib didn't. Pearman. Good spin. He was being held back by Leo Senna. 18-year-old Jalen Pearman making consecutive starts for the first time after his starting debut against Western United. Very much one for the future, highly rated by Perth Glory. Waheem's gone down, remained down. Spinella goes careering into Perth Glory technical zone. That is half-time, a half-time that has been, or a first half that has been largely dominated by Sydney FC. The closest they've come really is that mistake from Ollie Sale, which allowed Anthony Caceres to tow the ball towards the goal, but Adriano Labib made the block at the other end. Not too much from Glory. Adam Taggart had one shot that was deflected by a defender and could so easily have found its way into the back of the net. And the only surprising thing is that after 45 minutes, two teams who don't have the best defensive records are yet to leak a goal at either end. At the break at Allianz, it's goalless. Sydney FC 0, Perth Glory 0. We're off to a break ourselves. On the other side of it, we'll have the half-time show. Stay with us.
It's about getting the ball serious in everybody's life. No one's sleeping through a bit of that, don't you? Come on, mate, you have to smile faster than that. Let's go! Get that crustacean under control. It's not easy to be a $0 million. When that jackpot goes off, you guys are going to be working hard. Come on, let's move it like a crocodile sandwich. Make it snappy. That's coming out of it. With the world's biggest jackpots, you can get more zeros in your life at lotteryoffice.com.au.
Liberty Home Loans hit different. They're for the free thinkers, the go-getters, and the creatives. So if you're a free thinker, you'll be right at home. Liberty, loans for free thinkers. Australian soccer superstar Courtney Vine is up and at it. Despite being in a little car accident yesterday, that wasn't my fault. Life never stops for Courtney. Got a lot on my plate. Which is why she's already got a replacement car. Because I thought car biz first. Car biz. Replacement cars that keep life moving.
Find the balance between excitement and adventure with the 7-seat Isuzu UTE. Go your own way. I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here starts January 19th on 10. AFL Premiership winner, the headline-grabbing Olympian, and one of Australia's most famous comedians are heading into the jungle. Get ready to be starstruck January 19th on 10. Get ready to cheer. Just like Liberty supports the A-Leagues, they're on your team too. Whether you're planning a holiday or buying a new home, they can provide.
Teague delivers. Oh, Beach has missed it. The opportunity, it's in the back of the net. Roderick Miranda, the victory captain, slams the ball home.
They've only got seconds left to play with. One last hurrah. Lawton! Oh, no way! No way! Jordan Lawton scores the goal of a lifetime!
And that is a game you do not want to miss on Friday night as Melbourne Victory take on Western United. But right here in Allianz, it may be raining, but the light work that people expected Sydney to make of Perth Glory has not yet come to fruition. The deadlock is yet to be broken. This was the chance from Anthony Caceres, where Sydney thought they might have got themselves ahead right before the break. Fortunately, it did not come to pass as yet. Welcome back to Allianz. As I say, 0-0 currently here. It has been a great game of football. Depending on how you look at this, Perth Glory have been defending with their lives, or maybe they've just been defending really, really well. So far, no goals. Second half ahead of us is definitely going to change that, I'd imagine. To take you through the highlights from the first half, here's Simon Hill and Grace Gill.
Yeah, thanks very much, Tristan. Let's have a look then at the Harvey Norman highlights. And the game was largely played. Grace Gill in the Perth Glory half of the field, but Sydney finding that breakthrough pretty difficult.
Yeah, that's a frustrating position to be in for the Sky Blues. You find that when you've got all the ball, you've got all the chances, but it's just not coming off. It just can start to get a little bit frustrating because it really was the majority of that half spent in the Sky Blues attacking half, but just really failed to capitalise when they did get into the final third.
Yeah, a lot of the shots from outside the box. This was another of them. Joe Lolley's free kick, but Ollie Sale had the wall set absolutely spot on. Lolley's been busy down that right-hand side and at times on the left, but even he can't find the breakthrough in the wet weather at Allianz Stadium. And Glory have not offered too much at the other end. Here's that big chance with just moments remaining in the first half. Credit to Adriano Labib.
And he has been a brighter point for Perth at the back there. The goal line clearance, Labib. And on a few occasions, he's cleaned up for Perth in their defensive line. So he can be really pleased with his performance. But a frustrating one for Sydney at this point.
As the rain continues to come down, here's the stats at half-time. 14 shots Sydney have mustered, but just 4 of those on target. Perth have had just a couple at the other end. One from Adam Taggart that took a deflection, and wrong-footed Harrison Devonish-Mears could so easily have ended up in the back of the net. But maybe the goals are being saved up for the second half. Let's have a look at those Perth Glory opportunities. I'm not sure whether this was a shot, probably more of a pass, but very nearly worked out for Adam Taggart.
And opportunistic for Perth they're going to have to be, and whether or not you're a believer of XG, 0.02 really speaks to the quality of chances that Perth have created going forward. They've been few, they've been far between, but when they have looked reasonably dangerous, just needing a little bit more quality at their end of things as well. But we see this happen in football time and time again. Against the run of play, they can find one in the back of the net.
Adam Taggart, of course, has scored on his last couple of visits to face Sydney here at this venue. It's very much umbrella and coat and poncho weather. And let's have a look at Anas Wahim's first half performance. Again, very busy. As we mentioned in the first half, he's only scored the 1 goal so far for Sydney FC, but he always promises so much more, and he's a little live wire, isn't he, in and around the penalty area? Yeah,
looks to get involved everywhere. He's looking for the ball between the lines. There's been a few occasions I'd like to see just that little edge more from him facing forward, finding the final pass, but he busies himself. A tricky customer to play against as well, and he's had a productive first half.
And plenty to say to officials as well, hasn't he, in that first 45. Here's the Paramount Plus player index marks for that first half of football. Anthony Caceres equally busy in midfield for Sydney. It's a Sydney clean sweep at the top with Wahim and Lolley at the moment rounding out the top 3. All right, let's get back down to Tristan.
Thanks, Simon. Yes, I'm here with Alexander Popovic. Papa, I haven't seen you this side of the New Year. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to yourself.
I hope
and also, Srećan Božić to those celebrating Christmas now.
Oh, that's beautiful. There you go. I suppose, look, it must be the worst thing when you're a professional footballer and you don't get to be out there. How are you feeling at the moment?
Oh, I hate it. I'm feeling good. I should be playing, hopefully, Saturday. I wanted to play tonight, but the physios wouldn't let me.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's good. That's great to hear. So I guess all the questions at the moment, we weren't sure if you were going to see in Sydney jersey again with the injury that you've just had. You've got a couple of weeks left. Have those talks been ongoing? Are we looking to try and extend till the end of the year, or?
I'm not sure. I know as much as you do. So just waiting for the clubs to kind of sort their thing out.
Right, so you're in the stands today, you're watching the game, you haven't quite broken the seal yet. What have you made of the first half in your Sydney team?
Well, we've dominated the game. Unlucky Cass at the end. We should have been 1-0 up before half-time. But we just got to keep that intensity up, make sure we limit Perth to no chances, and hopefully we'll get the win.
And in terms of your own development from this loan, how have you feel that you've progressed? Obviously, a lot of results haven't been the way you wanted them to go, but in terms of from a personal point of view, how do you feel your game has grown this season?
I feel like my leadership has improved a lot, especially being in a couple teams so far at such a young age. But I just like to play games, you know. The only way to improve is to play games, and that's it, really.
Well, it's great to hear that you're back.
Thank you.
Best of luck when you do come back. Hopefully you stay in the team for a while then.
Cheers.
Good on you. Take care. There you go. Sydney could do with them, of course, but that concludes the Hungry Jacks half-time show. There is a second half ahead of us. no doubt there's going to be plenty of goals as well. In the last 20 years of the A-Leagues, we've had some fantastic moments, certainly from this fixture. We're going to leave you with one at the moment from the man, the myth, the legend. It's not Broski, it's the other fella, Del Piero, from 2012.
Del Piero again with space here on the left foot, drives it hard. Oh my word! What do you say to that? Goal number 12 of the season, the equaliser, and Alessandro Del Piero strikes again.
You can make it with Ninja. Barbecues are better with electric grills that sear and char like a gas grill. Plus, you can also barbecue smoke and air fry outdoors. Backyard bashes are better with pizza ovens that give you crispy crust, high heat roasting, and barbecue smoke. No matter how you're spending your time outdoors, bring the indoors outdoors with Ninja.
Liberty Home Loans is different. They're for the free thinkers, the go-getters, and the creatives. So if you're a free thinker, you'll be right at home. Liberty Loans for free thinkers.
Get ready to cheer. Just like Liberty supports the A-Leagues, they're on your team too. Whether you're planning a holiday or buying a new home, you can provide the assist you need to keep the free thinking goals. Liberty Loans for free thinkers.
With the 7-seat Isuzu UTE, everywhere is a classroom. And when you're doing life right, you never stop learning. Whether it's weekday school drop-offs or weekends full of footy, the Isuzu UTE gets top marks. Live your own way in the 7-seat Isuzu UTE.
Find the balance between excitement and adventure in the 7-seat Isuzu UTE. Go your own way.
Welcome back to Allianz Stadium. As you can see, Perth Glory about to make the first change of the game. It's going to be the former Western Sydney Wanderers striker, Nathaniel Blair, who is sent on. Looks like it's going to be at the expense of Adam Taggart, which is interesting. Whether there's an injury for the Glory skipper or not, I'm not sure. I did wonder, Grayscale, whether it might be Jalen Pearman, because he's only had 9 touches of the ball in the first half, but it's the captain.
Well, interesting one, Adam Taggart. He himself only had 12 touches, so really struggled to get involved in the game in the first half. Wasn't getting much delivery.
Well, we'll get Tristan McManus on to try and find out whether there's an injury or not for Adam Taggart, but Blair is on. No changes for Sydney, who have scored 15 of their 22 goals this season, the Sky Blues, in the second half of matches. So Let's see if that pattern continues. They certainly had the better of things in the opening 45. Weren't quite able to find the breakthrough. Anthony Caceres coming closest of anyone. As Josh Risdon sprints to keep pace with the ball. The clearance from Sale was straight at centre, but he couldn't retain possession. And Joel King surely holding back Trent Osler. Decision confirmed by Sam Kelly, the referee.
Perhaps on the blind side, it was equal holding by Osler, but undeniably Joel King with the grab there as well.
Reminder of the team's start of play today. 3 changes for Sydney FC, including a couple in defence as they to shore up that rather leaky back line. Here's Joe Lolly, who's their main provider of goals at the other end. Caceres digs it out. Here's Zach de Jesus. Sent to the cross, fended away by Pennington. All the way back for Ryan Grant. Centre. A little bit of room here for Joe Lolly. He's left the ball behind. Centre. Delivery too flat. A strange clearance initially from Carluccio. Reminder of how Glory line up. Just the one change at the start. Quago benched and Carluccio included, but Adam Taggart now replaced by Nathaniel Blair at half-time.
Yeah, it felt as though it was a fairly underwhelming first 45 minutes. A few bright moments. Perth doing most of the defending. Labib probably at the back doing the most work for Perth, and Carluccio really busy in everything going forward.
Ball by Jalen Tierman, but the bounce just deceiving his teammate, Jared Carluccio. Spell of games for Sydney FC. Earmarked as the point in the season when they make their move on the top 6 by coach Ufuk Talay. Has come here on Saturday. It's off to Wellington a few days after that before Brisbane at Allianz Stadium. It's fell by Carluccio on Joe Lolly. Lolly again. Pennington's done some good defensive midfield work. At least just too far wide of Trent Osler. UFC back on the ball. Senna. Quite there for Klimala, but Wahim wins the 50-50. And slides it through here for Joe Lolly across the face. It just needed a touch. Caceres was closest, and again Labib was one of the 2 players, I think with Risdon, who got back in the nick of time to scramble the ball clear. Good desperation shown again by Glory. On the back foot again, here's Lolly, and this time the deflection off Lissalewski favours Sale.
Well, this was a really nice bit of build-up play. I almost thought the pass from Wahim was a little bit skinny. Worked out really well. The centre-in ball from Lolly had so much promise at the end of it, just couldn't find a sky blue shirt. A really difficult one to defend against, no less.
Well, again, it's the same pattern of play that we saw in the first half. Can Sydney find a way to unlock the door? Here's Anthony Caceres, blocked by Labib. Out of play, off the boot of Osler.
What I have liked in these first couple of minutes for Sydney is they are finding a little bit more in the way of shorter passes inside, in between the lines. They weren't having too much joy in the first half doing that, but just those last couple of passages, Raheem Caceres really tidy on the ball, as he always is.
And maybe the speed of the passes as well. It's been noticeably quicker from Sydney as Caceres tries to get around the outside of Merchela. Good block in the end. Crucial period. You fancy this for Perth Glory? They've got to try and weather this little storm. Senna. De Jesus. Lolly. Holman. Back with Senna. Caceres. Darting to the edge of the box. It's all a bit tight in there. Here's Lolly! The breakthrough arrives 6 minutes into the second half. And who else? He's no ordinary Joe. 4 goals in 3 games now for the Englishman, who has 6 for the season, taking him level with Costa Barbarouses in the race for the Golden Boot. And Perth Glory's defence has finally been breached.
Well, we could feel it building on the Harvey Norman replay. Joe Lolly had been driving outside, looking for the cross in the middle. This time, takes himself inside, finds himself in the centre of the frame of goal. A little give and go, and that left foot is taken really well. A little bounce into the surface and a really slick surface out here at Allianz. Nothing Ollie Sale could have done about that one. A really well taken finish from the Sky Blues, and you'd think, fair to say, one they deserve.
Goal number 24 in total, which moves him level in A-League terms at least with the great Alessandro Del Piero, the club's all-time scoring list. He's actually ahead of the Italian in all competitions. That's league only. And now it's a different ball game for Perth. They have to try and be a little more expansive. Try and get the likes of Osler and Carluccio into good areas in the wider positions.
We just mentioned the speed of play, the speed of pass, some more intricate passing in and around the 18-yard box, and that's exactly what led to the goal.
Here comes Sydney again. Bit of room here for Joe Lolly. Shut down in the nick of time by Zach Lisolaski, I think. It's a foul by Ryan Grant.
Joe Lolly's a little worse for wear here. He came down really awkwardly in that last little run. Maybe just head full of steam. I thought he was going to release the pass, look to drive in onto the favoured left boot.
Here's Carluccio getting into one of those positions I talked about. Blair's touch, he goes down in the box. Osler! Goodness me. That could and possibly should have been 1-1.
Oh, great response from Perth, really positive. And Osler, who has busied himself all night. Nice little turn, drag of the ball, gets a shot away with hardly any backlift. Had some serious venom behind the strike as well. And that does not miss by much.
Big opportunity for the Glory. Lolly goes first time. Look at that for a ball from Joe Lolly. The bib has held up Klimala for the moment. Wahim, Caceres. Tempo is noticeably quickened from both teams. Glory get out here, they can. It's Nathaniel Blair leading the charge. Needed to release a moment earlier, but he's still got the chance to do so. Nick Matthews shuts the door. And Sydney go forward. Klimala. No width in this attack at the moment. And Wahim, in his attempt to find some width, only found Trent Osler. Perth Glory showing with that attack there. Not just here to make up the numbers. A little bit of contact between Grant and Carluccio, but not enough to get Sam Kelly interested.
It feels as though it was a point of discussion at half-time for Sydney. That ball speed is vastly improved into the second half. And for the conditions, we've spoken about it, but the rain, when you do have a surface that is fast, you can really zip the ball around on the deck, move the opposition team quickly, and that's something that Sydney have done a little better into this second stanza.
From the Perth bench is that David Strilic was about to make another 2 changes. We're just hold off on those for the moment. Second dart into the box again. It's Lolly once more. He's everywhere at the moment.
It's just so full of running, Joe Lolly. The industry that he displays game in, game out.
To say, in terms of his spell at Sydney FC, he's in the form of his life at the moment.
Yeah, I think so, and I think this season he's come back much fitter. He's looked more dynamic, more agile. And the goal came about from him getting himself right in front of the goal mouth. He spent a lot of time, as we know, out on the right-hand side for Sydney. He's floated across to the left. But maybe, really, he needs to be in front of the goal.
Free kick, Sydney. Let's quickly go down to Tristan, who's got news on Adam Taggart for us.
Yeah, no sign of Adam Taggart yet. As you can imagine, I'm asking absolutely everyone what's happened. No one has heard anything, no one's seen everything, no one's ever heard of Adam Taggart. But what I have heard is that there's no injury. There's definite soreness there, but there's no injury. So I think it's something I'm going to have to try and press on at the end of the game. It definitely it's hit Perth's confidence for sure, coming out someone as a focal figure like Adam Taggart. But no sign of him back out on the bench at the moment. But all Perth subs are all ready to come on, so I don't know what's going to happen here.
Interesting. Thanks, Tris. What do you make of that, right?
I almost spat my water out. Thanks, Tristan. But I think it's a point of concern for Perth if it's not an injury, or an injury that would put a player like Adam Taggart to the sideline. And the question mark is what's happened there.
He did have an injury a couple of weeks back. That's a little recurrence, or he's just felt something. You just don't know, do you? Anyway, we'll find out post-game, no doubt. At least that's the question. Perth Glory have got to do without him. Try and turn this one around, and they're still in this contest. I think back to that chance that Trent Osler had just a couple of minutes after Joe Lolly opened the scoring. And those are the moments. So often when you're down at the bottom, they just don't seem to go your way.
No, that's spot on. And for a player like Adam Taggart, they're the moments that normally fall to him, whether that's him creating them or running off the shoulder. Such a focal point of the team going forward. Doesn't need many of the chances, and of the few goals Perth have scored this year, he's been integral, their leading goal scorer. That's a big blow for the Glory.
FC now able to play the game at their pace. Senna down too easily. The pressure from Pennington. Carluccio always full of running. Is going to be Perth Glory corner off Zach de Jesus.
Corners haven't been the happiest hunting ground for Perth across the course of the season. Another look at that tangle, really not a great deal in it.
Well, there's a little grab on the shirt, but again, for me, the Brazilian goes down just a little too easily in expectation of the whistle, which didn't arrive. Here's the corner by Gomulka, and it was headed at the near post by Zach Lisolejski. Not too far wide of that left hand upright.
Imagine for Perth, they're the moments that they're really going to have to wager on a set piece, a corner.
Oh, that's heavy contact. Lisaleski on Lolly. And there's a card coming here. Yellow is the colour. We could hear the impacts from where we were sitting, and we're a fair way back in the stand, Grace.
Yeah, there was an audible gasp at the contact there because you could hear it up in the stands. Joe Lolly just has his legs completely taken out from underneath him. He's a tough player as well, Lolly. And that one's definitely going to hurt tomorrow.
Looks like David Strilic is belatedly going to introduce more changes off the bench. Meantime, it's Wahim, who's been run out of it by Risden, who was then fouled by a German-born Moroccan. Bib. Touched by Tierman under pressure. One ball forward looking for Trent Osler, held up by Matthews. Turn, Osler was grabbing on to Hayden Matthews. Trying to get things moving quickly down the other end. It's a reverse ball from Lolly for Klimala. Lolly, Klimala. Was a foul. Ball eventually struck the post via a deflection, but wouldn't have counted. Here are those changes. Jalen Tierman has toiled hard. He's going to be replaced by the former Sydney FC favourites, Brandon O'Neill, who enjoyed some success here in the championship with Sky Blues. And Trent Osler also takes his leave to be replaced Abdullah Faisal, who is sort of back on home ground. Sydney boy, signed from Bulls Academy for glory in the off-season.
Well, a couple of changes from David Village to try and get his side back on terms.
Faisal will start on the left with Carlucci on the right. There's Adam Taggart. Sat on the bench. Maybe we can get Tristan to go and have a little chat with him. Everything okay, Tanks? If anybody can get an answer, it's Tristan.
Oh, I'd be surprised if he's not already there.
Taggart just said he never heard of Taggart. No, he hobbled out a little bit there now. He's, I mean, he's pointing to maybe the top of his quad or certainly his hip area. He hobbled a little bit, but he didn't have too far to move, so I'll try to get a little bit more on that shortly.
Okay. But it looks as though it's injury related.
Yes.
Shows us holding off the attentions of Faisal, attentions which were unfair. CFC pondering a change of their own. Adrian Segicic is ready to come on. Break in play for him. Sydney Woods, the security of a second goal. Centre keeps his balance and the ball. Not quite the same effect. Ahead of just Jesus, but not where he wanted it to go. Both teams appealing for it. Throwing goes Sydney's way.
Yeah, it hasn't quite come together for Klimala tonight for Sydney FC. He's had little moments finding himself on the ball, but a couple of touches have gone awry. Just those little edges of quality a little blurred.
of space here for Joel King. Lucio desperately trying to get back. Viserys. King. Viserys once again. Back for De Jesus. Lolly. Clever from Joe Lolly. He's so good, whips it in towards the near post. That came off Adriano Labib, I think, for a corner. Even been a shout for handball there from one or two players.
Yeah, I heard those ones. Definitely some speculative shouts for a handball. And this is Joe Lolly on his right foot. We say so much about the wand of a left boot. He's perfectly capable off the right as well.
Joel King in particular is standing in front of referee Sam Kelly and saying, have a look at that. He reckons his hand was away from the body, but you can see very close to the ball as well. So they are just going to wait here whilst Kate Jakovitz and her team have a look at these pictures on VAR. And referee Sam Kelly has been told to come across and have a look at the screen, and Glory could be in a spot of bother here.
Definitely worth a look. It happened at such a rate of knots. Perhaps this other angle will present a little more.
Well, you know, the arm is away from the body, but he's so close to Klimala. Difficult. Joe Lolly has already placed the ball in the penalty spot, by the way. He's convinced. And I wouldn't be surprised if this one is awarded.
Yeah, this is where these moments are so hard. Undeniably, it's hit his arm. There is absolutely no time to react.
I was going to say, the defence from the defender is, where else do I put my arms? I can't launch into a challenge like that with my hands behind my back, because I can't get the leverage.
No, of course, and not that it's a defendable point, but Labib knew nothing about that.
So having a good long look at this, Sam Kelly.
Well, perhaps the question is, if that handball hadn't occurred, where does the ball go off the boot?
Yeah, if it's on target, of course, then Glory are in even bigger trouble. Let's have a listen in and see what they've decided.
After on-field review, the defender's body is unnaturally bigger by the position of the arm. The decision is penalty.
There we go. The body made unnaturally bigger. I'm still not 100% certain what that means, but anyway, there we go.
You feel as though it's harsh, but you can also see why that is
absolutely,
a handball.
yeah.
And a tough one for a player who I think in my mind has had a really good evening in Labib. He's been very sound at the back, and disappointment for the young man.
Well, Joe Lolly, who's already scored once, has got the responsibility against Ollie Sale. And he punches it into the roof of the goal. Sydney lead 2-0. And Joe Lolly is the new Golden Boot race leader with 7. As he repeats his brace that he scored in the 7-1 win against Glory at the back end of last season.
On the Harvey Norman replay, here's another look at the handball. You can understand why it was given. And Joe Lolly, the man of the moment, on a cold, wet night in Sydney, is bringing the heat to this one. That is a superb penalty.
Ollie Sale sent completely the wrong way. Harrison Devonish-Mears celebrating as much as anybody. Make that 25 A-League goals for Joe Lolly. And here are those changes. One for Sydney, Adrian Segicic to replace Anas Wahim. And we're going to see the reintroduction in Glory colours of Nikola Miljuznic at the expense of Nick Pennington, his first action since November. everybody talking about Joe Lolly. That's 5 goals in 3 matches now. A whopping 8 goals in 6 games against Perth Glory alone. Remarkable numbers.
Yeah, seriously impressive, that statistic. And now Perth with an almighty hill to climb. Zrilic turned into his bench, deploying all the attacking players he has.
Bib had to get there ahead of Klimala and did. Risted. It's a handy ball. It'll find its way through for Blair. Here's Faisal. Charged down by Holman. Blair again. Glory have got numbers in this attack. Brendan O'Neill. The ball gets rather caught up between the feet of Carluccio, and Ryan Grant sorts things out. Now there's a little coming together between Labib and Klimala on halfway. I'm not sure that Adriano Labib had eyes for the ball. Replay might tell us more. Still perhaps a little frustrated after the concession of the penalty. Yeah, it's a clear block.
Just a little bump there from Labib as Klimala popped the full brunt of that after what had been a nice swift move from Perth up the other end. That was really the first time we've seen all evening from the Glory. Fast ball movement, sharp passes. The switch that came from Josh Risdon was a good one. Opened things up at the back.
Same two protagonists going for the ball again. Oh, Labib. He's not going to take a backward step, is he? And it's none too friendly between those two. Well, you've got to be careful putting your head into the face of the opponents. You can understand why Adriano Labib is so frustrated at the moment. He doesn't feel he did too much wrong for the concession of the penalty. Sam Kelly's got to calm things down here a bit.
That's where a young player really learns some valuable lessons. He's had a good night. The moment with the penalty, not much he can do about it, but these are the moments he's got to keep his head.
Both players booked. Now, this has been going on for quite some time, this little individual battle.
Risdon quick to step in and just try and dispel those flaring tempers between the two players.
Klimala's second caution of the campaign. It's Adriano Labib's 4th. Next one, and he'll be sitting out a game. Shows us under pressure from his opposite number, Faisal. Sydney now in a very good position to take maximum points at the start of this busy little spell. Imagine if Tala is targeted double figures in terms of points return. 4-game spell in 10 days. 15 minutes to go. This should represent 3 of them.
Concerningly for Perth, Sydney FC, they're most prolific in their final 15.
The As Live ladder, which shows that Sydney would move up to 7th, just a point behind the top 6.
Substitution for Sydney FC, leaving the field.
Sydney making a change. De Jesus' first start of the season is over. Jordan Courtney Perkins is on. Ryan Grant will revert to his more usual position of right fullback. Ball breaking here for Segacic. There might have been a foul for Sydney earlier on in that. There is now. And a yellow card for Josh Risdon, which is also his 4th of the season, which puts him on the brink of a ban on the occasion of his 150th game for the Glory.
That's great energy shown by Segacic, the fresh legs from the substitute coming on. Forward in his side. A free kick in a pretty handy area. Josh Risdon. Just too much contact through the back.
Joe Lolly perhaps looking to turn provider after scoring 2 of his own. Sarah's there as well from the free kick. Players at the back looking to make their move. Klimala had a free header at the near post, but I think it wouldn't have counted. I think he was offside, Klimala.
Well, that delivery from Joe Lolly, that is superb. That is a world-class free kick. Offside or otherwise, the shape of that, the speed of the ball, and the area that he put it into, perfect.
Jordan Courtney-Perkins got a little nudge there from Nathaniel Blair. I'll tell you what, I think he was on there.
I think it was Zalewski who held the line and kept what would have been a lovely finish from Klimala had he found the target.
For a ball from Joe Lolly. Absolutely at the peak of his powers. King. It's by Risdon. About to get any easier for Perth Glory. In a few days' time they will host the league leaders, Auckland, at HBF Park. First of consecutive home matches, the second against the team from Sydney, Western Sydney Wanderers. One of the other teams from Sydney. Forgetting MacArthur, of course. By Grant. Sarah's did well to stretch and reach for that ball. Glorious ball in behind. Grant's cut back. Segacic thought about the shot. King. Lolly beaten away by Ollie Sale. Smart stop to deny the Englishman his hat-trick.
Oh, there's a stinger of a shot off the palms of Ollie Sale. And Joe Lolly, he has a lot of success when he floats into the centre of the field. Moves well and times his run just to afford himself enough space to get a shot away. That was neat from Sydney.
Lolly again. Beautiful ball. Klimala. Oh, that's 3. And that is a quality finish from Patrick Klimala. Joe Lolly turns provider this time. 2 goals and 1 assist for him. And in the rain, Sydney are home and hose for 3 points now.
For Sydney FC, scored by number 9, Patrick Klimala. The score is Sydney FC.
Unless there is a suspicion of offside here. Oh, you know what? This is not going to count.
Well, that is such a shame on the Harvey Norman replay. You just see the edges of offside. But at its simple best, football can just be so pretty.
Yeah, Klimala just got the wrong side of Tommy Murchler. It's a super finish. But rightly ruled out for offside. So he's going to have to wait for his 5th of the season. Well, the players have seen the pictures. They're ready to Go for the free kick, but VAR just making sure they've got everything spot on.
Made the finish look a lot easier than what that actually is. A disappointing one for Klamala, who, yeah, you can see the lines there, just leaning into the offside position.
Not quite why this is taking so long, to be honest.
After factual review, number 9 is offside. The goal is cancelled.
I think we knew that about 60 seconds ago. Anyway. Ball from Abdullah Faisal, confirmed. The question for Sydney is, can they keep just their second clean sheet of the season? Gloria threatened only sporadically. It's going to be a free kick. Potentially a card here. Yeah, Jordan Courtney Perkins arriving late on Risdon.
Yeah, you can see the outstretched leg there of Courtney Perkins. Right into the ankle of Risdon. Those ones hurt for sure.
Third caution of the campaign for Jordan Courtney Perkins. Glory pinch a goal here and make it a very interesting last 10 minutes. Free kick flicked on by Faisal and fired over the bar. Quite some margin by Tomislav Merchela.
It's a disappointing delivery, that one. Perth yet to register a single shot on target across this entire game. Really struggled to make anything meaningful into their attacking half.
It's been a tough return to Sydney for David Strilic. There we go, 47 touches in Perth's penalty area for Sydney, just 6 the other way. Helped, of course, all those numbers by the departure of Adam Taggart at half-time. Now really sheeting across Allianz Stadium. Much fun for the 7,634 in attendance tonight.
Good on those 7,000 odd fans for showing up in these conditions, because it has not stopped teaming down out there.
Molly, cut out by Gamulka. Scooped forward by Merchela. Good determination shown by Holman, and off the head of Grant and out for a throw. Those late goals for Sydney in the last few games. They've scored 4 in the last 3 in the 86th minute or later. They are into the 86th minute now. See if that trend continues.
Prime time for the Sky Blues. Don't turn off just yet.
No surprises that Joe Lolly is way out on his own. Top of the Paramount Plus Player Index. A super night. Super few weeks. Long by Matthews. Been told by by Murtala to go back to his goalkeeper, and he obliges. Way forward for Carluccio. Caceres. Grant. Lolly. He's there again to take it off the toe of Taras Gomulka. O'Neill. This won't stick for Perth. Running onto this is Segacic. An intervention by Labid. It's a Sydney FC throw. A double change for Sydney very shortly. Meantime, here's Adrian Segacic as they look for that third goal, which they thought they had some minutes ago. Segacic once again drives it across. Klimala, no, but Joe Lolly completes his hat-trick. What a night he's had. What a month he's having. What a season it could be for him and for Sydney FC if he can continue in this vein. He'll go home with the match ball and Sydney FC the points.
Well, 3 goals, 3 points, and on the Harvey Norman replay, this is Joe Lolly at his very best. He's worked incredibly hard all night, but this is brilliant. Just scraps, doesn't give up on it. There on the spot, rockets it into the back of the net. And if there was ever any doubt, he is the man of the moment. What a performance he has had tonight.
8 for the season for the Englishman. And he's deserved those celebrations. And don't forget, it was he who teed up Patrick Klimala for the disallowed goal as well. Triple change for Sydney. And Joe Lolly is going to be one of those to make way, and no doubt he'll get a standing ovation, and rightly so. What a performance. Patrick Klimala and Corey Holman also taking their leave. Introduced are Patrick Woods, Thiago Quintal and Jaden Kucharski.
Should this result stand as well, importantly for Sydney FC, for Ufuk Talay as well, as a clean sheet. They've been few and far between this season, Simon, you mentioned it. But they're the little details that really matter as you move into the season, the games we're on.
What's the old saying? Strikers win your games, defence wins your championships. Haven't really been tested too much by Perth Glory. It's that one second half effort from Trent Osler, which could have made for a very different game had that one gone in, not the wrong side of the post. Into stoppage time, of which there'll be a minimum of 6 minutes to be added. Quintal. Segacic held up by Risdon.
Well, someone we mentioned too how prolific Sydney are in their final 15 minutes of play. And after that one, they've now scored 9 goals in their last 15 minutes of the second half, more than any other team in the competition.
That's a good habit to have. It's earned them a couple of points in recent weeks. Today, just icing on the cake. Late change here for Perth Glory.
Substitution.
Josh Risdon is going to wander off on the far side of the field. And go. Introduce for the remaining 5 minutes of stoppage time. Not a very happy 150th in Glory colours for Josh Risdon. Looking in the mood for a fourth. Ending the throw-in. Tiago Quintal. Sydney FC's very promising youngsters. Off the bench for the 7th time this season. Starting to make his way in the first team with the Sky Blues. Ryan Grant. Kaczarski. Well, to weave his way through traffic. Segacic going to hit one. Appealing for a corner, but goal kick is the verdict. It's tough being a Perth Glory fan, but that fan, and we really must find out his name, he's at every single game, home or away.
Oh, the most important fans are the ones that show up. No matter the weather, no matter the results, and Perth, they're doing it tough at the moment, undoubtedly so.
There's a couple more Glory fans with him as well to keep him company, which is good to see. Sail to send it long, and the chase was on just for a moment. Never likely to get there. Sydney FC bench all smiles, or at least some of them. The ones that are playing are smiling.
Yeah, it's tough doing your time on the bench or in the stands. We've seen a few players involved very little this season.
It's quite go, and it breaks here for Abdullah Faisal. To go the long way. Needs a bit of help. Just ran out of room in the end. Sydney looking to spring forwards. Yeah, not so happy Perth Glory bench. Let's hope Adam Taggart's injury is not too bad and that he's okay to go against Auckland at the weekend. Perth Glory's fan's name is Chris Lawrence. Good on you, Chris. Cameras pick you out week in, week out, particularly on the away games. You are indeed a super fan, sir. Towards Wood at the near post. My thanks, by the way, to Blaine Treadgold for that information. Sum this one up from both teams' point of view, Grace?
Yeah, I think the second half really opened up for Sydney FC. A much improved performance. Minor details, things like ball speed, things like connecting passes, moving the ball quickly, and perhaps Perth just fatiguing a little bit. Moments of quality, and really the difference maker between the two sides is Joe Lolly.
Here's Segacic. Twisting this way and that, trying to find weak points in the Glory defence. Punched it through, and the cross wasn't bad, but nobody gambling on a run either near or the far post for Sydney. full time. No upsets here at Allianz tonight. Sydney FC pounced the points, moving up to 7th on the ladder, as Glory are condemned to a 9th defeat in 12 matches. Joe Lolly, the hero. A hat-trick for him. He'll take home the match ball. And he thought he'd set up a goal for Patrick Klimala as well, but that one was ruled out for offside. Turning point. Perhaps that handball decision given against Adriano Labib. And a penalty kick which Lolly converted to make it 2-0. Always going to be tough for Perth Glory after that. David Strulich, magnanimous in defeat against his old club. The Sky Blues back here on Saturday to face the Mariners with a real chance to get a shift on up the table. Glory hosting the league leaders Auckland on the same night. But well beaten, particularly in the second half this evening, Perth Glory. Full time in the rain at Allianz. Sydney FC 3, Perth Glory 0. Let's have a look at the Alex Tobin points for tonight's game. And not much doubt about who's going to get the 3 points. Along with the 3 goals, Joe Lolly, it's a Sydney 3-2-1. Anthony Caceres and Anas Wahim rounding out the top 3. And let's hear from our man of the match. He's with Tristan.
Yes, I'm here with Joe Lolly. Joe, you had to be patient today, but you got the job done.
Yeah, it was one of those games, you know, frustrating to go in at 0-0. Probably didn't create too much first half, but we knew if we